Vaibhav. In today's session of Visual Jforex, I will be continuing with the demonstration of the algorithm development using the indicator named min-max, which is the indicator used to look at the minimum and the maximum price over a given period of time. So we will now be getting back to the Visual Jforex board, which has been developed by the Dukascopy Bank SA. In prior sessions, I have built this structure which is going to be helpful in continuing in today's session. Here, so far, the instrument subscription has been done, then the position amount was defined at 0. The min-max blocks 4 have been taken to look at the price action, and if there is any significant breakout in the either on the either side, it can be on the bullish side or it can be on the bearish side. It doesn't really matter. To look at the immediate price action, I have also taken the get historical candle block, one of shift value 1, another is of shift value 5 of 15 minute time period. Then to define the exact entry point, the 10 seconds candles, and then comes the calculation expression which I have used to set certain conditions here. The upper limit, the difference between the last 15-minute candle and the candle which has closed 1 hour back or 15 minutes only. The difference between that should be at least more than 7 pips but below 15 pips. So this is the upper limit 15 pips condition. This is the lower limit of 7 pips condition, and the difference between the opening price and the closing price on the buy side should be at least more than 3 pips. Even for the sell side, the difference should be more than 3 pips. So to define that condition, this calculation has been done. And in yesterday's session, we were more focused on the buy side. In today's session, we will try to complete the setup for the buy side. And here I had looked at the actual price difference. And as you are aware, whenever there is a buying and if the price is closing higher than the opening price, that means there is bullish tendency in the underlying instrument. And that is the time to look for the buying opportunity. So here we will be looking at the actual difference, and then we will be comparing the value derived to the minimum condition. And as I said, we also look at the price action over 1 hour, and for that these two different candles closing prices will be compared to make sure that minimum conditions, minimum pip difference is there, and also it is within the upper limit, which is 15 pips. In today's session, we will be setting the conditions, setting out the conditions which need to be fulfilled before the execution of the trade. So I will need the logical block, multiple action. I will be joining the flow here, but if the need be, we will disconnect it. I will leave out some space as and when we will be adding the sell side setup. We will need to add certain blocks to define the conditions, and for that I am leaving out some space. Now we will get started with the buy side, and here I will give you a brief refresher of what are the conditions which need to be in place for the execution of the buy side. So as is evident from the chart, we are working with the USD JPY, and I have now changed the chart time frame to 15 minutes. And for buy trade, we need the last maximum value to be greater than the prior maximum value, and at the same time this should be the first breakout. So to make sure that is the case and we don't really end up buying on the high when there has been significant up move already, we will be looking at the last maximum value and also the maximum value 6 hours back. So somewhere And now this is 2 GMT, so 6 hours will be 20 GMT, and we will be comparing if the maximum value of that point in time is equals to or greater than the last maximum value, and if that is the case, only then we will be going for the buy trade. So here, as you can see, it is evident that that condition is not likely to be fulfilled, so no trade will be initiated even after this breakout in this series. So we will have to take a different example here. The last 15 minutes maximum value is actually less than or equal to the maximum value 6 hours back. So here this condition will be fulfilled, and if other conditions are also fulfilled, the execution of trade will actually happen. And also we need enough of price momentum, so we need last 15 minutes candles opening and the closing value to be apart by more than 3 pips, so the closing price should be higher than the opening price, and the difference should be of at least 3 pips. So that condition is also going to be fulfilled here. And we also need the difference between the last 15-minute candle close and the 15-minute candle which has closed with a look back period of 5. So we will be going back in time, and this and here this difference needs to be more than 7 pips, but within the 15 pips band. So we will be taking these into consideration as well, and it is in the price band. So here the buy side conditions are going to be fulfilled, and immediately as and when the price starts to rise above this closing value, the trade execution will happen. Here it goes up for around 4 or 5 pips, then the reversal happen and it comes down, and we will have to see how this will end up depending on the combination which we will be opting for the stop loss and the target price. So these are the places where the conditions are in place, and some more examples might be maybe this time around also condition will be fulfilled. So we will need to run the test on the historical data once we are ready with the algorithm to see what kind of trades will be executed. So I hope you have understood the logic behind this setup. So let us now get back to the task of defining the conditions. We need the prior maximum value to be greater than the maximum value before that, one candle before that, and here first input greater than second input. Okay, then we also want the maximum value of last 15 minutes to be less than or equals to the maximum value 6 hours back. So for that I have taken this 15-minute min max of 48 time period with the shift value, that is look back period of 24, and that means we will have the maximum of that point in time, and this needs to be less than or equals to, I will take couple of if blocks more. Here it is taking a bit more time. Let me see what is wrong. I think there might be some problem with the net. I will fix it straight away. Just bear with me for a couple of seconds more. Okay. I think it should start working now. Alright, I got this. So here this should be equals to or less than, and we don't really want the trade execution to happen after each candle which closes higher. We want the stability to be there, and this should be the first instance where the breakout is there. So we need the maximum value with the shift value of 2 to be equals to or less than the maximum with the candle with look back period of 5. And for that I'm going to compare this maxima with maxima 15, which has a shift value of 5. Okay, first input less than or equals to. So three conditions have been set. Now we will have to compare the actual price action with the desired price action. So this ACD needs to be more than minimum set condition MC, and the price action or last 1 hour also needs to fulfill our desired criteria. For that, the difference between these two candles closing values should be within this defined limit. It should be less than the upper limit and more than the lower limit, and this first input greater than second input. OCD. Okay, first input less than or equals to, and this also needs to be less than or equals to, sorry, not less than, greater than or equals to. These conditions need to be in place, and also we will need to define the exact entry point. So here this needs to be greater than or equals to. Okay, now we will be looking at the actual point where the prices start to rise above the last 15 minutes candle closing value, and for that we will be looking at candle 17's closing value. Candle 17, okay, and candle 20 and 21. Candle 21 has a shift value of 2, so its closing value needs to be lower, and candle 20 has a shift value of 1, its closing needs to be higher. And we will be going for a market open. Okay, will arrange the block and get the market open order block. Pardon me. And now I will get the open at market component trading block. We need to join this flow. Okay. Logical. It's taking a bit too much time. I think there is some error on the platform. Let me see if I can access. Okay, I got it. Candle 21 close needs to be lower than candle 27, candle 17's closing value. And now comes the moment of defining these input values for this order block. And for lot amount, I think 0.1 million should be good enough. It is of course going to be dependent on the equity in your account. Slippage is going to be 2 pips. And as we are short on time, for today's session, we won't really make changes to these two variables. One is of stop loss and another is of take profit. But in tomorrow's session, I will explain to you how we can make the stop loss and target price dynamic depending on the price action. We can define the stop loss and target price looking at the difference between the last couple of hours, no, last couple of 15 minutes block, not couple of hours. So I will be defining those two variables tomorrow, and then we will use those values derived to set these conditions of stop loss and target price. So that's it from my side for today's session. If any of you have any idea or query, you can write to me in the feedback section and I will be more than happy to take the discussion forward. See you tomorrow, guys. Do subscribe to the Dukascopy webinar channel. Thank you all for joining in. Goodbye.